creating an impact when it comes to AI transformation within the contact center customer experience space. So quick overview of the tech. So we talked a little bit about our journey at Google and how we got into contact center AI. Really all starting with virtual agents, powering that 24/7 self-service, and then taking all of that knowledge, all of that data, all of that learning, and making sure that it's also available when it comes to agent-assisted functionality. Making sure agents are getting smart suggestions, removing the need for like very classic, call transcripting capabilities where agents are following very prescriptive language. You feel like you're talking to a human, they sound like a robot still. So using the suggestive capabilities to really make sure that agents have that timely information so they can provide personalized and really intelligent responses, but not sound like a robot. And then leveraging Agent Assist for things like summarization, transcription as well. And then lastly, insights, which initially all about understanding how your virtual agents are performing, why people are contacting your organization, giving you the tools you need to continually improve your models on the back end and the level of experience you're able to provide. We bring that all together in what's called the Google Contact Center AI platform. This is our end-to-end CCaaS. So we're doing everything from virtual agents up front, so every customer is deployed with a natural language, conversational, generative IVR type tool. We do that across a variety of modes of channels, as you would expect. And again, very deeply integrated into the Agent Assist functionality. So doing real-time transcription as agents are taking voice calls, doing automated summarization, pushing those summaries into your CRM record of choice, and then providing all of the intelligent WFM and QM capabilities as well. So because everything we do has Google Vertex AI at the core, we're not just bolting on AI to this contact center platform. There's absolutely AI at the heart of everything that we do, all the way into things like automating quality management capabilities using our LLMs in the background. What I did want to talk a little bit about is generative AI and what we're doing with genai in the solution today. Genai is being used for a variety of purposes. Genai is being used to actually power more intelligent, more conversational responses based on Google's large language models. But we're also using genai to help you create and help your IT admins or your IVR flow designers create more intelligent bots. And this is giving you, the ability to improve self-service abandonment rates. It's doing things like driving up call containment, improving agent utilization, and ultimately delivering better customer satisfaction. We're also using genai, as I said, to really change that bot building experience and giving you tools to make sure, as Kim was alluding to, your enterprise data, your kind of tribal data being at the heart of everything you do, making sure that the genai capabilities are absolutely grounded in your content, reducing the risk of things like hallucination within the AI responses. And then using genai for summarization, as I alluded to, tapping into our large language models. You can see an example here, taking that rather long conversation summary, providing the actions, the situational overview of whether or not there was an actual resolution as part of that. And then lastly, a couple more actually. We're also using genai for multilingual translation and transcription. So this is a chat-based experience today, but Agent Assist can actually, if you have a customer who's switching back and forth between English and French, I'm Canadian, so this is actually pretty common in my part of the country. You can have an agent who's speaking English and responding back and forth in French as the customer's kind of transitioning from flopping back and forth between languages. So really making sure that you, in these environments where you may be serving kind of multilingual customers, still have the ability to drive that great FCR rate that you're looking for. And then lastly, using genai for quality management. really driving things and automating using the large language models to automate conversation scoring. So traditionally, this is what a lot of supervisors and business managers in the contact center would do manually with things like call recordings, screen recordings. And now using the large language models, you have the ability to score not one call per supervisor at a time, but you're actually able to go back and score 100% of your interactions with human-like quality at the end of the day. Seeing things like customer satisfaction, sentiment, etc., all as part of that experience. And with that, I'm going to hand things over to Ishan to talk a little bit about how Quantify brings it all together in the customer.
Thanks, man. Thanks for providing that wonderful and concise overview of the technology. So now, how is Quantify leveraging these solutions? Right? What is, how is Quantify helping enterprises and their customers sort of make the most of it, right? So before we get into that, let's just sort of take a step back and see, or let me share with you what we are hearing and what we're seeing on the ground. Right? When you look at some of the leadership at our customers, right? When you talk to CIOs, something that they typically want is a lot of hyper-personalization and it's solutions that can be deployed from the get-go. So they want to see impact, but they also don't want to spread out their partner ecosystem too much. So they want accountability. But they want accountability from like a single partner who can bring transformation end to end. While all of that is something that a CIO would want, typically transformation initiatives kind of hit a dead end when you're talking to a CFO, because these transformations are typically CapEx intensive, and in the recessionary markets that we've seen in the last couple of years, that typically becomes a roadblock. And then we talk to CEOs, what they want is top lines, happy customers, happier investors. Right? So if you look at the priorities right across all these three broad organizations within an enterprise, they sort of tend to conflict with each other. And that's where Quantify sort of created an innovative commercial model that sort of addresses all these conflicting priorities. So we understood the why, right? Let's talk about the what. So it's an end-to-end solution again based off Google CCI. So we leverage Dialogflow, we leverage Agent Assist, we leverage CCI Insights, we deploy on CCI platform. So what that does is across the experience side of it, it gives you a virtual agent that can automate and contain your calls. It gives Agent Assist that can sort of enable your agents better and make them more empowered. There's a conversational idea that's again like on the customer experience side of things, provides a better experience. From a fulfillment perspective, right, what is very important, right, when you're talking about automating use cases, these virtual agents should be able to talk to your backend systems and make that journey end-to-end automated, right? So a lot of that happens through integrating with APIs, integrating with your existing infrastructure, like contact center platforms. So that's again part of the solution. And then, like I said, as part of the question as well, how do we help you with that, right? So right from the onset of helping you build the roadmap, also sort of helping you measure the performance of the solution and doing change management across your organization. A lot of you are experts in your industry as well. Something that you would know is it's not easy to change agent behavior, right? So the day you bring in technology, a lot of effort typically goes into making agents more comfortable with the technology and then being able to use the technology to the most of it. So a lot of that change management aspect is something that we make in. So it's an end-to-end solution that helps you right from the ideation to the implementation and continuous improvement. And what is unique about this model is, again, a model that only sort of, you only pay when you realize cost savings. So typically we charge customers for calls that are fully contained or AI assisted. And the way we define contained calls is if a customer has, if a customer query is contained within the virtual agent and the customer doesn't call back in the next 48 hours, which is typically a very good indicator of whether the query of the customer has been solved or not. And then, if a call does go to an agent, how are we helping them with Agent Assist and assistive AI technologies to make the session smaller, right? So that means saving time for the agent to get to the next call, some of that also involves some post-call disposition activities like summarization, identifying next steps. So a lot of that is automated. Some of the impacts that we've seen is we've seen upwards of 50% containment from what they've been typically driving from their idea, which is again a very legacy kind of a way to interact with customers and doesn't have the amount of containment that you can drive. We've seen upwards of 15 to 20% reduction in average handle time, and all that boils down to about 30 to 40% reduction in your contact center agent costs, and about like 150% ROI. So that's the amount of that's the level of impact that we've seen. And if you just to sort of give you a perspective of these impacts, right? So we're working with a large broadcasting services company. They have about 30 to 35 million calls a year, 9 to 10 million chats. Their IVR is pretty bad in terms of containment. They're talking about 5 to 5.5% containment on their IVR. A lot of that, and a lot of the abandonment rate is also because their contact center is not 24/7, doesn't work on weekends. About like roughly they're spending about 150 million plus on customer service costs annually. Through this outcome links engagement model, right? What we're doing is over the course of 3 years, we're automating about 80% of the call volumes. Year 1 is 45, year 2 is 65. And as you progress, right, the incremental sort of capability to automate sort of tapers down. That's why you see a slight reduction. But in terms of key outcomes, right, what we're promising is an incremental 30% containment, 20% reduction in average handling time, which will eventually lead them to save about 50 million in net costs about 3 years. And if you just look at some of the commercial aspects of it, they're spending about $4 something per call right now. Through automation and through this incremental containment and reduction in average handling time, that is expected to be brought down to about 2 something. So that's the level of impact that we are bringing. And again, from a commercial model perspective, every contained session costs about $1 something, and an AI assisted session costs a fraction of $1, right? So it's again very simple for organizations to embed this model because again it is something that very linearly fits into forecasts and cost assumptions. Again, this is just like a forecast of how things will shape out for them, starting with 150 million per year. As you go down with more automation and more reduction in time savings, there would be somewhere around 105 to 110 million by the end of year 3 or 4. So that's probably the run rate cost. Again, some of the other impacts that we've delivered across the industry, we're working with one of the largest multinational banks. We're working with one of the largest telecom operators in the US. They have about 250 to 300 million calls a year. We've been able to get them about 40% containment on their voice and about 25 on chat. We work with the largest global retailer, 5 million chat, 5 million queries, 50% reduction in handle time, 40% containment. So again, the point that I'm trying to make is these impacts are not specific to any industry. Where we work with some of the largest organizations, we've seen this consistently across. Alright, finally, now to the next segment of this workshop. You will see a worksheet in front of you. To make the most of this workshop, I would encourage you to just fill that out as we go through the next subsequent slides. Again, as the sheet says, we will not be using any of this information on any public forum. This is only going to be used internally for quantified insights from participation in this session. And in case you want to help, if you want to explore